Now the next step, and I'm just going to quickly give these a quick press so they'll be nice and flat. Okay, so I'm now going to take my collar that I've interfaced and I'm going to put the facing on it. Okay, so what you're going to do is you'll take right sides together, and because I want this collar to lay flat on the garment, I've got to be careful and make sure that I get enough fabric to go around for turn of cloth, and then I also want to make sure that my facing is a little bit smaller than the actual collar so that it will favor the edges. So the way we do that is we take the collar and we move it just barely inside the facing, just like that. Okay? And I'm going to pin that. And I'll just start working my way around, pulling this in a little bit so that my facing ends up being smaller. And see, when I pull the facing out a little bit more into the seam allowance, then it makes the inside of it smaller. So I want to make the facing a little smaller. Okay. Now another way you can do this is you can just take the style edge of this collar and trim it a little bit. So that would be another way, but I'm going to just go ahead and pin this and see how we do. Okay, so all right, now see, I've got a big bunch here, so I've got to figure out how to work this in. So I'm going to unpin it. I'm going to kind of start over, and this time I'm going to kind of arrange it before, because if I start at one side and go to the other side, then the one side will fit great and the other side will have way too much. So I've got to figure out how to do this. So if I take my pins out, okay, so now I'm going to start over by first putting this where I want it to go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm just going to bring that over here. So I'm going to have to start kind of pulling this a little bit to get this to fit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is try to pull this kind of down on here a little bit so I can manipulate this a little bit more and make it fit. Okay, so I kind of have to pull on the edges a little bit. See, when I pull it like this, you can see that that's actually looks like it will fit. So I'm gonna kind of work this in. Okay, we'll see how we do when we get to the other side, if that is gonna work. So now on this side, I'm pulling that in a little bit. Okay, and let's see how we do here. Before I pin any more, I've got to make sure I'm going to be able to get all of this in. Okay, so that's going, but not quite. I still got to work some in. So okay, and I've got some over here, so, but I think it's coming along. Okay, by kind of bringing that up a little bit, that's helping me to work that in. But as you can see, it's not easy because I still have a kind of a little bunch going on there, but I think it's coming. Yeah. Oh, I think I'm gonna make it. Okay, so what I have to do is stretch. You have to stretch the outer one. And see, I'm kind of stretching it like this, and then I'll bring this down a little bit. So this is kind of tricky, but this is what's going to make your collar lay nice and flat, and this is what's going to make it so that your seam will go under on the wrong side. Okay. I'm just working away with this. Takes a few minutes, so take the time you need. Okay, so there's I'm going to put another one here just to keep it. Okay, and then now I've got this kind of bubble here, but I think I can work that in a little bit more here. Okay, so I'm only pulling it out about 1/8 of an inch because my fabric is not too bad, but here on the end it's kind of coming off a bit. So I am going to kind of stretch it there a little bit too. Okay. There we go. Yep, it's just kind of pinning and repinning. So I'm trying to work this in. Okay, I think that's, as you can see, I've gone over this area a few times, but I think I've got it. Well, almost. Here, let me get that. Okay, all right, see how I'm pulling it right there? I'm kind of pulling it to make sure I pull it with and hold it with my fingers here, but I gotta get that out a little bit. Okay. All right, I think I've got it. Again,